Hey everyone, this is CS Professor Pam with PamTech Coding. In this video, I want to walk you through all the things that are very important in terms of preparing your coding environment. In the future, I'm about to start a series on React, and I just want to make sure that we have everything all prepared. So let's go through the steps. There are a lot of different things we need to make sure you have and have configured properly. A code editor, setting up your file organization. Anyway, let me just go through these one at a time. So you need a code editor. There are a number of different editors that you can use, but my recommendation is VS Code. If you don't have it, you can just Google and you can find the site code.visualstudio.com and basically download it. It's a free download. Once you download it and open it up, I have it open up over here. There are a number of useful extensions that I want you to install. And extensions are just things that kind of help you in terms of making you more efficient in your coding. So these are the extensions. If we go over here, this is where we click to find extensions. And you can search for extensions by typing in the text box. But I just want to show you the ones that I have installed that I recommend that you install. First of all, Live Server is useful for JavaScript projects. This allows you to basically run your project and it's automatically updated every time you save. So look for Live Server, search for that, look for this name. And when you are looking at extensions, you want to make sure that you look at the number of downloads to just see how robust this extension is. Another one that is very important is this auto rename tag. It's very useful if you have, for example, an H1 tag in your HTML and you decide to change it to an H3. Once you change the H1, it'll automatically change the closing tag. So it's really useful. Here's the person's name to look for. So again, all you do is just, instead of uninstall, your screen will say install. Now, two more. Auto import is very useful for React. It'll allow us to find things that we're using. It just kind of saves a little time. So look for this one and install it. And the last one that is very important when we get started on React is this one, ES7. These are code snippets. So make sure that you have this installed as well. All right. And in future videos, I'll be showing you how these extensions are useful. All right. Once you have that, the next thing that's important is to decide how you are going to organize your work. So I'm working on a Mac. I'll just open up my Finder over here. You can see that on my desktop, I have a folder called My Files. And inside of My Files, I have a folder called GitHub Repos. And this is where I put all of my projects, right? So you want to have one place, whatever you decide to call it, and make sure that you are clear about how to access that folder from VS Code. If I go into my VS Code and go to File, Open Folder, I can click on my desktop. I can click on that folder called My Files. I could click on my GitHub repos and I can open up a folder that way. So it's very important that you know exactly where all your projects are. All right, along those lines, it's important to be comfortable with using the terminal. So I'm on a Mac. I'm going to find my terminal like this. I'm just going to make it bigger. If you are on a Windows machine, you can use your command terminal a little bit, but what you really want to use is your Git Bash terminal. And I'll talk about Git in just a second and explain that. I have some other videos that explain that. But when you are here in the terminal, there are just a few important commands. You need to be able to move around. So one of the first ones is ls. ls just lists the files in the directory that you are in. Kind of allows you to see where you are. So I can see that from here, I can move to the desktop. In order to move to a new folder, the command is cd or change directory, and I'm going to move to my desktop. Usually anytime I move to a new folder, I do an ls so I can see what's going on. Also notice that now that I'm on the desktop, the prompt is telling me where I am, right? And if I then go into my files, then I can see here's my GitHub repo. I can go into that. And again, I can see my files in there. If I want to move back up this structure, if I do cd space ... says move up a level. So you notice I'm in GitHub repos. When I do this, I am now back up a level into my files, right? If I wanted to make a new folder in here, I would use makedir, mkdir. I'll call it new project. And you'll see that there is now a directory called new project. If I cd into that, there's nothing in it, right? If I want to move back up, cd ... right? If I cd ... again, I'm back to my desktop. So those are the major commands you need to understand. ls to view your files. Then you've got pwd. I didn't show you that because basically we can always see where we are in the prompt, but this stands for print working directory. I'll show you. So if I'm over here in my terminal, if I do pwd, it tells me where I am, that I'm in the desktop. We've got makedir, mkdir to create a new folder or directory. And then we've got cd to change directory or move to a new directory, all right? So those are your major terminal commands that you need to understand. All right, you need to use versioning control, which is Git and GitHub, to back up your projects. Now, I'm not going to go through that in this video because I have a whole playlist over on PamTech coding. If you look at the playlist for using GitHub, then you will see I have 2 videos for Mac and 2 videos for Windows. For each operating system, one that tells you everything that you need to know to get everything set up, and one to show you how to clone your first repository. So make sure you are comfortable with that. Then you need a browser. You can see that the browser that I'm using is Chrome, and I absolutely recommend that you use Chrome. There are some really useful Chrome extensions that I want you to search for and install. So if I go over here, I'm going to search Chrome extension JSON formatter. And if we click on this, this is the extension. So I can add it and make sure that it's here, right? The other one that I want you to do is Chrome extension. If you're going to be doing React, you should do React Developer Tools. And if we click on this, as you can see, I actually have already installed that. So make sure that if it's not there, you install that. All right. And lastly, if you are going to do React, the very first thing that you need is to install Nodejs. So if we go to Google here and do Nodejs, you can see the site is nodejs.org, and you just are going to download and install that. How can you know if you have Node or not? Let me clear my terminal here. If you're not sure if you need to install it, go to your terminal and type node -v I'm asking what version of Node is installed on this machine. If there is none, it will tell me that. But as you can see here, I do have it installed. So those are the basic setup things that you want to make sure to do. Get your code editor, make sure you're clear about how and where you are organizing your projects, know a few basic terminal commands, get Git and GitHub set up, have your browser and your extensions, and have React installed as well. One last thing in terms of the terminal, when I'm in VS Code, instead of going to my terminal outside, I can actually open a terminal here. You'll see here it's telling me where I am. I can do all those same commands. I can do ls. I could change directory, although it's not recommended that I do that right here. But if you're on Windows, you're going to want to make sure when you open your terminal that it's a Git Bash terminal, and you'll have an option over here. On Mac, you don't have to worry about that. So those are our kind of coding environment fundamentals. I hope that this has been useful. If you have any questions at all on any of these steps, please make sure and give them to me in the comments. I'm happy to respond. And there are a number of links in the comments as well that can link you to some other useful information. So hope that is useful. Happy coding, and I hope to see you with me here in a future video.